playing the blue-black zombie deck that an awful lot of people were asking about. We didn't really see a whole lot of it, but he kind of snuck up from the bottom and managed to sneak into the top 8. He's playing, his only blue is Phantasmal Image in the main deck, he has Ponder. That's an interesting little twist.
You know, usually Ponder feels a little bit too slow for these kinds of zombie decks.
So Jonathan, on the other hand, on the left, leads off with, on the play, Forest Birds of Paradise, also known as the Stone Nuts.
And will Brad respond with either a turn 1 drop or a kill for that zombie or for that bird? Let's find out. And the drum roll ends in Tragic Slip.
Tragic.
Red green.
No string or dice this time.
Turn 2 no play. Perhaps Wolfer Avengers are waiting in his hand. Brad Eier. One of 2 Cleveland players in this top 8. Galvanic Blast stops. Was that a... Now
I know Smitty was one of those, one of the first early adapters of the Blood Artist. It was a card that kind of flew under a lot of people's radars. But it's tricky, because even though it's a 0/1, it seems unassuming, it's actually very, very difficult to interact with it without losing some amount of value.
And we see a Bird of Paradise on turn 3 from Jonathan Bohn.
The name's Bohn. John Bohn.
I bet you he has heard that. We see a Cavern of Souls naming most likely zombie, but it could also name vampire or illusion.
Oh, no. He's certainly going to name zombie or illusion. Yeah, exactly. Because from this position... No, probably he's not even going to name zombie. If he's got another swamp in his hand, he might just name the illusion to make sure that he can actually cast those images.
There we go.
He doesn't need to force the Bloodline Keeper through.
He's got the black for it. Gravecrawler, unopposed. 4th land. Here comes the Crawler.
One of the things I love about the Gravecrawler is that he's sort of like a black Bloodgeist, or Bloodghast.
That's interesting. And we see an Artist again. And what is that last card? The
Deergraph Ghoul? Oh, no, it's not tapped.
What is it? I can't quite tell. The glare is making it hard for me to...
Is it a Highborn Ghoul or another Blood Artist?
It can't be. He's got only 3 mana of tapped. Okay. There must be...
It was a Deergraph Ghoul. It just had not yet been tapped.
He was just putting it into play. No wonder. The not tapped coming into play was kind of a tricksy moment there for us. 3 mana. Green Suns, perhaps? Bonfire for 1?
Well, yeah, it takes down the Blood Artist.
There we go.
Maybe slows down the Gravecrawler for a while. He's hoping maybe Brad doesn't have another zombie. He's almost surely wrong.
He might not have it now. And let's see what we have.
Is it time for Droff's Messenger? God,
there it is.
So good.
Take 2, plus I'm still here, plus I'm going to be there tomorrow.
Droff's Messenger and Gravecrawler together are sort of like the Bebop and Rocksteady of the modern zombie
That
deck.
was an elbow drop comment.
It's like the 2 of them make it very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. They're single-handedly, well, I guess double-handedly, responsible for the re-emergence of zombies as a serious contender.
And we have a Phyrexian Metamorph copying that Messenger. But this is a robot Bebop, I suppose. Didn't that happen once?
Yeah, I think that was like was it Turtles in Time or something? Or was that like one of the video games did that? Dude, absolutely.
By the way, that was a rhetorical question. I totally knew that it happened. And we have the attack of the zombies. They come on in. Another messenger from Brad Eier. John ninja, on the back foot, as they say. And he's like, there's just
Hacks
no way.
It up. At this point, it's inevitable.
You know, the Go Ninja, Go. That is just too bad of music.
I'm hoping that we can get like this dubbed. Exactly. I'm hoping we can get this dubbed so that like people at home can be hearing this as we speak.
Now, it's important to note that Chrome Dome was a robot turtle in the cartoon Shredder. I can't speak. Whatever this
Shredder made robo versions of Bebop and Rocksteady.
There we go.
They were also superheroes at the time too.
And you know what? For anybody who's been following the sort of saga of Michael Bay's attempt to eviscerate our childhood, the plug has been pulled. The turtles being reimagined as aliens thing, fortunately, somebody came to their senses and pulled the plug on that whole thing.
You know what? Another thing that is fortunate is the idea of winning three months of Star City Games Premium. Let's lift everybody up. Let's make everyone a little bit happier. And let's ask this question.
One person.
This exciting question. What? Ready? Okay.
Ready? Is that your question for trivia?
No.
First person to tweet back if you're ready can win 3 months of Star City Premium. We're at SCG.
Well, actually, before we go into the question. How it works is very simple. You can see right down here, there we go, the hashtag SCG Premium. In order to enter into this, you have to answer the correct question to Twitter, but you want to put that hashtag SCG Premium, and one lucky respondent who has the correct answer will be randomly chosen from among those people to receive 3 free months of Star City Games Premium. So make sure you get that hashtag on there or it won't be counted. So the question I have for you is, what Star City Games Invitational top 8 player sees his Esper deck in the top 8 of this event?
What SCG Invitational top 8 competitor sees his deck in the top 8 of this event?
His Esper deck in the top 8.
Esper deck.
Yeah.
It's weird. If only we had been talking about an Esper deck that people had used in this event. Well, if you can figure it out, tweet at us. Make sure to use hashtag SCG Premium. Make sure to tweet at us the SCG Live. Make sure, just for kicks, throw in the SCGDET. And, get yourself some premium.
That's right. 3 free months. Here we have the match in progress. The first game, a total, just huge clobbering by Black Blue Zombies, killing the first turn Bird of Paradise with a Tragic Slip, and then dropping down Messenger, and a bunch of other things going along with that.
What's he going to bring in here? It looks like, is Undying Evil on the table? Is that an option?
Wow.
Undying Evil seems like it could be a hot tempo play. And Foomspitter seems nice as an additional support for killing birds and elves that has has other applications.
I actually really like the Fume Spitter. I think that is actually excellent.
And Skursdag High Priest might not be bad.
Tell me what you like about Undying Evil in this.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying, once you're the type of person who puts Undying Evil in your deck, you are your range, you're making a very clear statement that you have a very wide range. No, I don't know. It depends. If you think that he's got a lot of removal, I think the problem is that, he's got Galvanic Blast instead of Pillar. And if creatures are actually just bashing into each other, it could be nice, because some of his, he doesn't know. I guess he does know his deck list at this point.
Other side of the table. Now, as you say, he does know his deck list at this point. One of the things that changes in the top 8 is that all of the top 8 competitors get access to each other's deck list to be able to review. And so nothing that they have from each other should be a surprise. Now, of course, memory being what it is, if you look at something, maybe 5 minutes later, you don't remember, but you still get that opportunity to be knowing. For example, let's say we're talking about Esper Mirrors. There are 3 Esper decks in this top 8. Well, you get to know whether or not your opponent has Mana Leak. In this case, you get to know the removal package that your opponent is packing in the main and sideboard.
John's looking to board in Bonfire. Probably Garruk Relentless, because, why not?
Garruk Relentless can actually do a lot of work in clearing out the table, putting in some things into play.
A lot of work, huh?
Yes, exactly.
And what about Tree of Redemption?
I'm not sure if Tree does the same job that it would do against a red-green deck. There are a lot of ways that Tree can just die.
There's no Doomblades or Go for the
no
Throats.
Doomblades. It's just Verdict, Tragic Slip. Tragic Slip, though Tragic Slip can kill a Tree with a little bit of help.
And that's the hard way, and it doesn't always do it. If the Tree ever untaps, you gotta be careful.
That act of aggression on your
remember,
Tree.
the Tragic Slip doesn't just kill the creature. It's only -13/-13.
Well, isn't that enough for? Oh, the Tree might be too big.
Exactly. If the Tree it doesn't have Summoning Sickness anymore, often the Tree will be like, potentially up to a 20.
Well,
I'm not ashamed to admit the first time I ever faced Tree Redemption, I cast Into the Maw of Hell on it. It was embarrassing.
I don't know that that's embarrassing.
Dude, those Madison people do not mess around. It was day 1 of the pre-release. He's just stone faced. He's like, all right, in response, switch life totals. It's like, yeah.
Active aggression on your Tree. Oh man.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Definitely pretty good. So
and the game begins. Jonathan Bohn on the play here. Who do you think has the advantage in this this game 2 here, now that they've sideboarded, with John on the play?
Kind of think that it might just be that Brad just has the advantage.
We see a repeat of last game. Turn 1 mana producer, turn 1 kill it. Turn 2, nothing? No, there is something. Strangleroot Geist.
Well, that's definitely going to make a big difference.
That is a big difference from the first game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of feel like Brad's deck's a little bit faster, and it's not like this green deck actually has the sickest curve, but the green deck does gain a little bit more after boarding. The Bonfires and the Garruk add some nice big elements, Whereas just getting Flume Spitter is a relatively small. It's a
Yeah.
good upgrade, but it's relatively minor.
Well, one of the things I like about Garrick here for this matchup is, and then we have looks like a Metamorph on the Strangleroot Geist. Undying Metamorph is always powerful. One of the things I like about the Garrick is that there are actually creatures small enough for Garrick to kill a creature and stick around.
Absolutely.
In for 2 with the Gravecrawler. And the Messenger that we saw last time.
And that knocks Jonathan down to 14, right? 2 from the Metamorph, 2 from the Gravecrawler, and 2 from the Giraffe's Messenger?
Yes. 14 apiece here.
We got
Now,
ourselves
that-
a race.
Phyrexian Metamorph on D can turn into a Giraffe's Messenger. So, defensively, it seems like a very effective card to hang back with. Strangleroot Geist isn't terrible either. And with
The
both,
problem
he's
is
got
he
another
can't-
play.
Yeah, but what's he going to block? The Gravecrawler isn't very effective to block, and blocking the Messenger undoes his plan of trying to copy it.
This is true. Now, John is running Galvanic Blast rather than Pillar, so yeah, Gravecrawler can't block.
Correct. Yeah, no.
But we're talking about Gravecrawler being blocked. And Birds of Paradise comes down. We
Now,
see
John does have Kessig Wolf Run available. It doesn't matter too much, but with how much these two are just slugging back and forth, it might not be long before we end up in this late game where Jonathan can just give one of his creatures trample to provide the killing blow. Wow. Brad wisely slowing things down a little bit by playing a second messenger. Keeps one of his messengers home, figuring, you know what, at this point, I have such a good board, I want to just not die really fast, because going big so far, he is a little bit bigger.
One of the only ways that Brad can recoup any kind of lost life should anything go awry is Blood Artist shenanigans. Blood Artist is pretty fragile, though. John, on the other hand, 4 Huntmasters here and 3 Sword of War and Peace.
Now,
I'm not sure if Sword of War and Peace sticks around
yeah, I
after
was going to say,
sideboard.
Sword of War and Peace seems a little bit,
Romantic, perhaps?
yeah, romantic is a good way to put it.
Hopeful, at the very least.
Yeah. So Giraffe's Messenger, probably blocking a Strangleroot Geist.
Another strong weapon I think you mentioned earlier that access to Zealous Conscripts after board 2 just can really make a race go the wrong direction.
It is a little slow, but it might just be the, it certainly seems like it could be better than stuff like Acidic Slime. So we're, Jonathan, debating his options. Four land, a Bird of Paradise, a Phyrexian Metamorph copying a Strangleroot Geist, and a Strangleroot Geist facing down 2 Giraffe's Messengers and a Gravecrawler. Plus a few land. Both players, additional cards in their hand, both players at 10.
If you're just joining us, this is the first round of the top 8 here at the Star City Games Open Series in Detroit. This is SCG Live. I'm Adrian Sullivan with Patrick Chapin.
What up?
We are watching John Bohn with Red Green Aggro trying to recover from a Game 1 loss against Brad Eier, who just really came out of the gate swinging with Black Blue Zombies.
Yeah, but what a difference the Strangleroot Geists make. In this game, John's got 2 of them. The Strangleroot Geists gives him an early way to both provide offense and defense, because when Brad inevitably has to block, boom, untaps and is ready for defense. That said, so far the Messengers have been providing an additional level of power that John hasn't matched with any Huntmasters. What are we going to see out of Brad at this point? I mean, he's got 2 Messengers and a Gravecrawler. He's going to be continuing to just be the aggressor, but at the same time, he's got to be very, very careful, because he's so close to just, like if he does this wrong, he's so close to just dying on a swing back,
Do you like Killing Wave after board in this matchup? I kind of do.
I don't know. I know it'd be real easy to just kind of, like, I could guess, but I don't know. It seems like one of those things where I bet the fact that he's actually played the matchup, it's probably just clear to him, but Killing Wave's such an unusual card anyway, But I know Blood Artist people always swear by it. And the ability to suicide your own guys, so good. Wow, a 3rd Messenger hits the table. And John's in a real bad spot now, because this puts him at 6 with 3 Messengers on the table.
So crazy how much damage can happen at pretty much a moment's notice. Things like a Mortar Pod coming into play.
Mm-hmm.
How much damage is 1 Mortar Pod right now? 1,
Lethal.
2, 3, yeah, dead.
Yep.
John, does he need a Huntmaster? Is that what he needs right now?
Well, I mean, it's not clear that Brad actually has a Mortar Pod yet.
Well, I mean, saying, like, just the danger that he's in.
A single Hell Rider's pretty good, right?
Ooh, that is really good. Bird won't be able to attack at this point, so... If he casts the Hell Rider.
Yeah, if he doesn't have another red.
Yeah. It's still, though, it's a huge chunk of life that's being threatened away.
Bonfire is just game over immediately.
Now, it wasn't too many turns ago that we were looking at this with feeling like Brad was very much on the back foot, but...
Yeah, but as we said,
yeah.
I mean, Brad's got a little bit faster of a deck, and 2, Brad drew 3 of his trump card as Messenger, and
Yeah.
John has not played any Huntmasters at all. The Stranglegeist helps, but Brad does have the Gravecrawler to counter. And just in terms of the amount of pressure that he's putting on the other person.
Increasing Savagery, just as a side note, in Jonathan Bohn's board.
Not sure this is the matchup for it,
Oh,
but
I
it's a sweet card that should be played a lot more.
It's so sweet.
Absolutely. +5 just seems so ridiculous. And the fact that you can actually kick it for +10 and 7 mana isn't even that much. Definitely one of the key cards to the SCG Black Invisible Stalker deck that both Finkel and Godennis used to top 8 the last PT.
Here we go. In they come. A wolf and a robotic ghost.
The Stranglegeist getting busy. And this Metamorph is so dangerous because if he blocks it, which he's probably going to have to, it's going to come back as a Messenger.
We see the first
decides
block.
not to. All right.
It's just going to take
Yeah,
the 2.
and maybe this is the best way, simply so that that Jonathan's Metamorph doesn't get to untap and be a blocker by copying like a Stranglegeist or something.
And I think we're going to see the first activation of the Kessig Wolf Run.
No, probably a Regeneration Shield if
Oh,
anything.
okay, there we go. Yeah, you're at 2 mana. Thank you. Wolfir Avenger is
A
going to
little wild to
regenerate.
tap 2 forests instead of that Kessig Wolf Run though.
Well, yes. Well, he does have a bird open, but that bird is a fragile little creature.
Yeah, Wolf Run's not doing anything.
This is true. 2 less life for Jonathan Bohn as the Geralf's Messenger returns from the grave.
I mean, this is a precarious situation Bohn is in.
Another land.
Wow, this is... I mean, he's got 2 blockers.
Things could go so badly right now. Is that dead on the board?
No. He can block both of the big messengers.
And take 5 and die?
Presumably, he's got a Galvanic Blast in hand. It's the only way any of this makes sense. Right?
It's the only way it makes sense.
It just wouldn't make sense to not make sense. However,
Just
does that win the
checking.
game for him? If Brad goes all in and goes for it, when he Galvanic Blasts the Gravecrawler in combat, that's game. He's going to die to Brad's going to die to the swing back.
Well, that's presuming. But that's presuming Brad doesn't cast something after combat.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just saying, on the board, he's representing dead on board, which very loudly is saying, Galvanic Blast is in my hand. Maybe he's going to intimidate Brad into not attacking out of fear of the Galvanic Blast that he must obviously have.
I think you might be actually correct.
And clearly, I cannot drink the wine.
I was
going to
say I was feeling like you were
No.
very much.
And you know what? This is what I'm talking about. People talk about sometimes at the SCG Open different levels of play. This is a very high level move. John, now it's possible he just has it, right?
Yes.
But if he doesn't have it and he's actually just selling it and successfully sells just leaves himself dead on board and as a result buys himself the attack, that's incredible. Brad deciding what are his options. Can he try to play around the Galvanic Blast?
Yeah, I mean, this rearrangement of the creatures seems to me to be Brad kind of physically moving things around to help him go through the thought process of what happens if he attacks with everything, if he attacks with this group, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What happens if the blast is there?
Absolutely. And Brad has a number of cards in hand. Many possibilities will kill John on the spot, even through a Galvanic Blast. But the fact that he's tanking so hard suggests that he doesn't have any of the ones that do the job. God, is Jonathan just a madman? Is he leaving the Kessig Wolf Run to overly telegraph the Galvanic Blast?
Maybe so. I mean, it does makes Jonathan's play have less potential options that could be worthy of thinking about. And here we go, Brad thinking, rearranging once again.
Very intense turn. Dead on board. If he has the kill on board
Here
if he
it comes.
wants it.
And
Doesn't
he holds it back.
Very interesting.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
I see a bird do the chump. And
He does
blast.
have the blast.
now remember, that Gravecrawler might be able to come back, but it cannot block.
And Jonathan does not want to lose to a Gravecrawler coming back.
There's the Gravecrawler. And what else are we going to see here? Phantasmal Image? No.
Highborn Ghoul.
Highborn Ghoul. 2-1 Intimidate. No Bonfire from Jonathan Bohn.
Dun 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 dun.
Now remember, Kessig Wolfrun here.
Now, it makes me wonder, was he supposed to just chance it, take the damage, save the Galvanic Blast, and then just send 2 to the dome? If he sends 2 to the dome, Brad's at 4. You attack, Kessig Wolfrun is 2 points of trample. One of those guys is going to get blocked by
It's going to have to get blocked, right?
by a 1 toughness creature, because if you attack with all 3, the messengers will block the 2 biggest ones. The Metamorph the Metamorph is going to be able to come back as a messenger, which is 2 more points of damage. And if he had the Kessig Wolfrun, he'd win.
But, you know, it's important to remember, aggressive decks are easy to play.
No, I think... No, maybe does he... Like, even now, if he Kessig
Oh,
Wolfrun...
what do we got? Hellrider? Hellrider.
Hellrider, wow.
Oh, my God.
And when the Metamorph dies in combat, it's going to come back. I think this is it. I think John's pulled it off. Absolutely. Because now he takes 4.
Go to 2.
Wow.
And there is
Great
no block that is available
No, he
here.
needs to have a Tragic Slip.
And a Tragic Slip does not save him.
Even the Tragic Slip not enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
That Tragic Slip could not
I think
have
we're going to
helped
game
you.
3. Excellent
And
game.
to the next game. That was an amazingly good game of Magic. That was awesome to watch.
Very, very cool. So, I wonder... There's no way he's not going to appetite for brains, right? It could be cool in the right situation, but the games seem too tempo-based to mess around
They're
with that,
too
right?
quick. I think that they're too quick. So I was just actually noticing Brad's hat, which also speaks to his Clevelandness. A couple of the Cleveland guys came up to me and they wanted me to make note of a nice, what they were calling a surge of the Cleveland players lately in the Star City Games event. Ronnie Rittner getting top 8 at the last major event, the Star City Games Invitational in Indiana, and now 2 members of that community here in the top 8 of this event in Detroit.
So for game 3, Brad will be on the play after an extremely tight. And to be fair, he's probably at least got to be happy with himself that, you know, it's not like he lost because he didn't take the kill on board. He would have just lost to the Galvanic Blast. But very exciting. Very, very exciting game. Man, I'm hoping that Grixis deck wins. I don't know who he's playing against, but
Yeah, nor I.
how can you not cheer for a guy playing Grixis? Grixis is as American as apple pie, you know? It's like, it's as American as Nico Bolas. Come on, you gotta admit, Nico Bolas's, like, motif is pretty American. But, alright, we've got, blue-black zombies versus red-green aggro. It's interesting to see just the selection of different red-green decks, the whole spectrum, as they range from, like, red-green aggro, moving up towards red-green pod, and then potentially forking off towards Naya or Rug pod, or alternatively going towards actual Wolfrun, like Wolfrun Ramp, a deck we haven't really seen a whole lot of in this tournament. There have not been very many Primeval Titans. But on the other side of it, this blue-black zombies deck, it's so interesting to see him using Ponder. Maybe he just likes Drolf's Messenger so much that he just wants to find more copies of it. I also think that the 1 active aggression is a very spicy little number, but the Bloodline Keeper is more telling. Not everybody uses Bloodline Keeper, but the alternative, the sort of mid-rangey game it lets you play, it's super, super exciting. This definitely seems like a tournament where I would have wanted to have Celestial Purges, or
Right?
timely reinforcements.
Celestial Purge, it's surprising how powerful it is sometimes, and yet how anemic it can be if the metagame doesn't show up the way you want it to.
Right. I mean, the fact that so many of the decks, and we're seeing, you know, less Primeval Titans, more Mana Barbs, Hell Riders, Drolf's Messengers, things like that. Not to mention the fact that there have been enough people playing Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, Curse of Death's Hold, and Liliana to really justify those Celestial Purge slots. Both players still shuffling it up. Kevin Bogamus, Daddy Long Shuffle style.
That's nice.
We may be advancing to the middle game, as they say for Vintage, the opening hand. You know, deciding on mulligans. It looks like both players content to keep their grips. Turn 1 Swamp, Gravecrawler. Ah, the Foom Spitter. Now, Foom Spitter, you know, not the quickest clock, but it's super nice, the options that he gives you in terms of he makes sure they don't have a Bird Elf start, which is like their best weapon, but it also can reset your Drops Messenger later in the game.
Those two things together make it actually a very potent weapon. And here's the, wow, he can kill 2 mana accelerators from John. You were talking about how you were hoping that Grixis would make it all the way through. Grixis, in the hands of Christopher Morgan, has to get past Ari Lax first.
It's going to be a tough one. Foom Spitter continues the beats. Jonathan with no Strangleroot Geist or mana creatures. This has got to spell a Green Sun Zenith for Strangleroot Geist next turn.
Hopefully for Jonathan, anyway.
Dross Messenger.
Wow, Messenger.
This is a very, very good start. It's not the biggest beatdown, but it does have enough good tools of the right types that Jonathan's slow draw is looking like it's going to get punished going long. Now, what do you think about the use of blue-black instead of like black-red? I mean, Falconwrath Aristocrat's a card that's gained a lot of traction in recent weeks, but Brad has ensued it in favor of the Phantasmal Images in the Ponder.
Now, I like Image a lot. I know, looking at this, usually when you see black-blue zombies, what can you expect? A Lord.
Well, yeah,
I don't think I see a Lord there, do you?
Nope.
Now, I appreciate him not doing that because I don't think it's necessary. The Ponder and the Image, that seems totally reasonable to me, but I think I would really miss access primarily not to the Aristocrat, but actually being able to just dome your opponent with Burn was the thing I was seeing. Volley, but you don't have to just stop at Volley. I mean, I just saw a lot of the black-red zombies outperforming black-blue zombies in the last month of Star City Games Open Series.
Now, I do think that the Aristocrat plays into that simply because he provides such a powerful threat that's so good against these sweepers, but he is, you have to admit, he is a bit weaker in the world of Lingering Souls, and this tournament has been chock full of Lingering Souls. So Brad ponders and keeps, a bad sign for Jonathan. Brad, much more developed board with Foom Spitter, Mortar Pod with a Germ, Dross Messenger, and Jonathan. Still no plays.
He's got a Wolfie here.
This is definitely a Wolfie Revenger, right?
Better be, or else I would be wondering why he kept it.
Brad, very professionally, does not attack with a Foom Spitter, so as to not walk face first into the Wolf. Definitely good to see. Very strong play.
Show me the wolf, John. There we go.
Brad correctly identifies the situation and manages to extricate himself without getting punished.
Are there any werewolves in Avacyn Restored, or is it only wolves and humans?
Only wolves and humans. There are no werewolves. The werewolves have been banished.
Once they moved the Hell Vault.
Absolutely. As soon as the Hell Vault opened, Avacyn took care of all that business. Now you just got to deal with demons like Grizzlebrand.
What about zombies? Are there still zombies?
Yeah.
But they're just kind of weak.
Yeah.
And a Hell Rider.
There's like a 1/1.
Not a Hell Rider, pardon me, a Huntmaster.
Yeah, there's like a Young Wolf for 2.
I've been seeing that in some of the zombie pod decks as a one-of to climb up the chain from Gravecrawler.
Sure. It's interesting how much better he is at 2 than Young Wolf is at 1. But it just shows you, different colors provide different contexts. So 2 messengers. This is a very, very tough way to do it.
And we see a Germ and a Spitter killing off the Huntmaster.
These Dross Messengers are just going to crash. This is a tough spot to be in. Wow, Tragic Slip too.
Slip.
This is...
Does he have one more removal spell? He might. No, he's just equipping to make sure that his one of his messengers simply cannot die from this block that a wolf would provide. Another Fume Spitter, and both crack in.
Yeah, because it's not even going to matter.
He does the block, and I think we're going to see Fume Spitter as the insurance policy on this grave, on this Strauss Messenger.
Yeah, now he can let it come back. He's doing 2 extra. The Messenger's temporarily bigger, and whenever he wants to, he can sacrifice the Fume Spitter to reset the Messenger.
Jonathan Bohn is in real trouble here. What does he need? Does he need, what, a Huntmaster followed by other things?
Yeah, I think he's got to start chaining together some Huntmasters and just try to power through all these Messengers. This is real tough. He's in a real bad shape. A Tree of Redemption wouldn't be bad. It can hold off one of the Messengers indefinitely and provide a little bit of a life cushion. Huntmaster definitely has enough power. Unfortunately, Bonfire is not the right kind of thing because these zombies are just so resilient to removal. Green Sun Zenith probably fetching a Huntmaster. It's going to take quite a bit, though, to claw back into this game.
And sad for Christopher Morgan and Grixis and Patrick Chapin, because Chris Anderson, happily for him, oh, pardon me, my bad, let's go back down. I have the wrong result. Chris Anderson takes out Ken Crocker, taken down by Chris Anderson. So Esper Midrange gets 1 into the top 4.
So he fetches up that Tree of Redemption. It's going to buy him a little bit of time, but he's in a bad spot here. Even if he blocks the big Messenger, he's taking 4, which puts him at 4, and then he's facing Sack My Messenger, and then no, I think he's just dead on board. Yeah, I think it's over this turn.
Block.
Yeah, because he's going to take 4, and then Brad can shoot with the Mortar Pod Messenger, then move the Mortar Pod over to the Messenger that's a +1/+1 counter. Fume Spitter, his own guy that has the counter, then shoot with that one. Yeah, I think this is a done data.
Now Chris Anderson defeating Ken Crocker 2-0. Looks like Zombies might be winning here momentarily 2-1.
Yep. By the time this stack resolves. And that's the game.
Match.
Players shake. Brad advances to tomorrow. So do we have any matches left? We still have...
We're waiting on Ari